Whether it's said or unsaid, people are telling me to get a normal job. Whether it's my wife saying, go looking for work, or my parents asking me about, my business and how's it going, and like pausing, waiting for, yeah, great, and not always hearing that. But there's definitely an expectation that, you could always get a normal job, couldn't you? Or LinkedIn on the regular, multiple times a week, sending me roles that I'd be perfectly suitable for. But when I think about it deep down, I really feel kind of physically ill about that idea. But what's the real trade-off? And I don't think it's what people think it is. I think it's money versus passion. And I think that's kind of a crappy way to think about it. I don't think that's a really good framing, because we can all be passionate about the work that we do. And I know that if I was to go to work, I would be passionate about it. I would show up for my team. I'd show up for the projects. I'd get invested in the business and the business leaders. And I just find it hard not to get invested in the things that I do, especially when you're spending like 40 hours a week. Your best energy in the day, in the center bit of the day, all gets poured into that. But the thing that I struggle with is it's going to somebody else's priorities. It's building someone else's dream. It's lining someone else's pockets. It's paying somebody else's mortgage. Now, yes, of course, there's a trade-off there. My time and energy gets paid as a salary into my bank account. Thank you very much. But it's not just about that. It's often about, what are you optimizing your life for? And I think we've all had a massive opportunity to think about what was important to us. When we went into lockdown, when the world started to spin in a different direction, and I realized how important family and being there for them was. How important it was to walk the dogs with my wife and be able to talk about things on a daily basis and be there to support each other. And don't get me wrong, when I say she's asking me to go to work, she's just being a realist. She's an artist. She runs her own business. She totally gets it. And thankfully, she's going from strength to strength, and I'm able to support her, whether that's today it was wrapping up packages. Yesterday, it was driving down and helping her curate and set up a show at this wonderful new space down in Wexford. And that's going to be, then tomorrow night we'll go down and the opening of the show, and we'll, hear what she has to say about her new collection. And, but today, like 3 pieces went out in the post, and I was able to package them up and get them out the door. Like that's like this income. So, it's not desperate, but, to my wife's point, she was like, you have the capacity to make the most money in the house. But I also think that might be shifting, because she's put so much energy and effort into her business that it's getting places. And she's probably right. I could probably still land a job that's going to outstrip her business by a factor of 3 or 4. But if I don't put the energy and effort into her business and my business, how are we ever going to multiply those? How are we going to build them up? Like, what's the important piece? Because if I was to spend 40 hours a week at a job, I'd be drained. I'd be trying to look for, kind of other ways to, restore my energy. I'd be trying to optimize around, okay, well, I've got to get in and out of the office. So I'll run in, I'll cycle in, I'll get my exercise in doing that. When am I going to eat? There'd be pressure then around like cooking for the family, do that. Like at the moment, I'm doing lots of cooking, and I love that. I really enjoy it. And that's great. But it also takes pressure off my wife, so she's able to stay creatively focused on her work. And she's been through a massively productive period where she's produced loads of work, and it just keeps coming, and it's all flowing. So she's trying to make that a reality. And, the more work she produces, the more she can sell. You know, but I've definitely been in the place where I've done that 40 hours a week and I've come home and I've got nothing left. I have plenty of tips and ideas and things that we can do to get around that, and ways in which we can focus and ways we can optimize our mornings or our evenings or our weekends. Like, I've videos upon videos of that stuff. And that's what it is. Is it that we've got to do our creative stuff on the side? Because for me, that advice all feels just a bit wrong, and the advice is coming from people who haven't made the same choices that I'm trying to make, especially thinking about my parents' generation. Like, they all went to school, maybe went to college, got in an industrial job, and they were there for life. It was a job for life, till retirement. And it was such a massive blow if that blew up, or the company stopped, or their department or their role was downsized and they were out. Like, that was a huge, huge thing, because what else do I do? Thankfully, that has changed a bit, and I've been through multiple roles, multiple companies, multiple ideas, and I know that I can bounce back, and I know I can be really flexible and resilient and helpful to multiple people. But, when I think about the sensible and the safe option, or what's considered, I go, is that real? Like, I've told the story before, but like, in the past 6 years, I've had 4, if not 5 brushes with redundancy, layoffs, optimizations, downsizing that meant my role was potentially at risk. That doesn't sound safe to me. It sounds like I'm in the crosshairs of, being ousted and not having an income to support my family. At least here, I'm taking responsibility and I'm doing something. And I've spent years being sensible, and maybe you have too. And like, where has that gotten me? And I think every time I connected with that, somewhere deep inside was like, maybe now's the time for you to do the thing that's been itching at the back of your head, gnawing at your soul. And I think in the past I've made that a creative endeavor. So whether it was food and product photography and diving into that, I've shared photos of the work I've done before, and it went places, but I was also, it was very much a trade-off. I was using my creative energy to make somebody else's vision look and feel amazing. And I totally get that that's how it works sometimes. And that's fine, but it just felt too much like work for me. So that's why I sold all my camera gear and I'm making music, because realistically, I'm not going to get paid to make music. Like, in this current economy, thanks Spotify, music has become almost worthless. And now with AI slop producing #1 hits and huge bands, like, where are we at? But I'm going to do it for me, and you can all take a listen when I put it out there. And I really enjoy it. And it's a lovely thing to be able to turn my back on the computer, turn my back on the internet, leave my phone outside, and make music here behind me. And lose myself and lose some time and really get into it. And then have something to share with my bandmates that triggers a conversation about what would that look like to be visualized, where would we play it, like, how do we all interact with it, and it's kind of exciting, But I do think there are some uncomfortable questions that I need to ask myself, and maybe you need to too if you're in a situation. And like, what will I regret more when I get to 60? Will it be that I tried and I failed? Or that I just gave up really quickly and never really gave it a shot? Because one thing that I'm feeling right now is that, oh crap, you really have to put the work in. And I think I got a lovely severance check, and I've been sitting on that and kind of working on my business. And I've been putting out videos like every week, sometimes more than once a week. You know, I've been trying to optimize and think about it, but it's getting real, and I have to make it work. And I do have a limited runway, you know, because like I totally get it. Like, I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to not get work. I'm not going to let my family starve. But I need to find other ways to make it sustainable. So maybe that's a part-time job. I mean, I've already found work with, somebody who I was in a course with, and she was like, hey, can you help me optimize some of my business? Can you automate some of the things for me? You've got all these tech skills. Can you help me get some of my, update my website, do all these things? There's loads of tech skills that I've picked up from working in the tech industry for decades now. So I definitely have skills that I can use and not feel like, it feels like a partnership. It feels like I'm a done-for-you service. Like, it feels like we're working together to grow her business. It's almost an extension of the creative guidance and coaching that I offer. So it's actually lovely to see her business grow and to be part of it and be there for her. And she's also found a way to be able to, get support and get some of the funding from the kind of local enterprise board to make that happen. So, like, win-win. We both get real value out of this. So that's great. And yes, of course, I said in the last video, I've listed some of the stuff up on secondhand websites, and I'll sell it. And I've already sold a little bit. And you know what? I'm okay with that, because it means that the bills are paid. It means that there's food on the table. It means that I'm able to really focus in and hone in on what's important. In the worst case scenario is we have a couple of lean months and we figure it out. And I think it's another question to ask is, like, how long do you have? Like, realistically, how long do you have? Before you have to get work. And like, I think we've got a really good understanding about that. We talk about it on the regular, there's a few things that we can do and are doing, like I said, I'm not going to be an idiot about it. And I think another question to ask is, am I running away from a job, or am I running towards something else? And like I said before, every time I've been faced with the opportunity that's presented itself by downsizing or business decisions, or maybe I'll lose my job, I've had this nudge at the back and knowing, saying there's something else that I've got to do. And at the moment, I really believe this is it. And that's why I'm pushing into it. And I just know that creativity is so important for us as human beings. And I think it's so important for us, for society right now. I think we're questioning so much about how our creativity gets used, how our humanity engages with creativity, what output looks like, feels like, what it, but then how we're also transformed by our creativity. Like, how we embody all of that, how it feels in our inside to go through the process of the wrestling of what's good, what's bad, what's my taste, when something doesn't line up, like, that's all embodied inside us. And there's no way that AI will ever be able to understand that. And I think it's missing the point in being able to, like, generate something, because that's not even necessarily useful bit for us as humans. The bit for us is the journey. And that's what this is about. That's what this video is about. That's what my offer to the world is to journey, and to journey alongside you, and to be there for you. Like, you are the hero of your story. Like, this is not about, I'm not taking any of that away. It's just going, hey, I'm a guide. I've been here. I've helped tens, if not hundreds of people on their journeys through all of my work in Apple or Riot Games or Indeed, through charities, through coaching, through these guidance sessions. And I'm really excited. I'm really passionate about helping people and seeing this happen. And I genuinely have a vision that like millions of people could watch these videos, and I want to help them. I want them to be inspired. I want creativity to shine and humanity to revolve around creativity and not give up to, oh, well, let's just stick it in a prompt, in Gemini to make another image. And like, I'm not adverse to AI. I use AI regularly because I'm a one-person business and it's so helpful, and I don't have the funds to go and get all the help that I would love to from humans. And I would need another few of me to be able to do that, so I'm not in a place. So why not use it where it's helpful? It's like anything. Like, it's like, do I hand wash everything in my house because I've got a dishwasher? No, I don't. I slam it in the dishwasher and I walk away. But I know that this is important. And I said in the last video, like, I've been working with Barnaby and Lynn and a few other people, and it's wonderful to hear their stories and see where they're going, to walk alongside them, to see the progress that's been made. And I'm going to do everything I can to keep going at this. And if that means I have part-time work, that means I sell more gear, if that means I do more odd jobs or like kind of tech freelancing for people, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm okay with that. And for you, if you're in the same position as well, like, you don't need my permission to do it. This is all you, And here's one of the things that I know, and I remember saying this so many times to the teams that I worked with and I led, is that every day you're making a choice by not starting. And whether that's starting for an hour on the weekend and building something. And in some ways I kind of wish that I'd spent more time getting this going, because realistically it's probably going to take 2 or 3 years for it to be legitimate and worthwhile. So build it now, start today. And the idea that, oh yeah, someday like I'll retire, or like I'll get a payout, or I'll have the time or the money or the security or whatever, that means you're never going to do it. That's an excuse. You're just putting it off. And I know, because I've been there, because I've thought, oh, well, I'll do that. And more importantly, the question is not whether I get a job or not. The question is, what is it that I'm building my life around? What are you building your life around and for? Can you build it around the things that are important to you? Whatever that is. And honestly, hand in the air, I have to say, I don't know if this is going to work out. I genuinely don't. But I'm also at the place in my life where I kind of don't give a fuck. Not that I won't work out. I want it to work out. I'm deeply engaged and passionate about it working out. But I want to see what happens. And I know what'll happen if I don't try. I'll be here again in 5 years. And like I said, when I hit 60, I'll be like, I'll be more bitter and I'll have more regrets. And I'll just have wished I'd spent more time and energy doing it. So if you're still here and you're still watching this and there's still that pull for you, and if any of these things I've said resonates, if there's any way I can help, there's a link in the description, because this is what I help people with, I don't have a dream. There's no like 10x system here. There's no like fake funnels. It's just an offer to walk alongside you, and we'll both figure it out. And look, maybe it's just as simple as like you book in a clarity call. If there's a 30-minute free call, you can have a chat and see if, what I've got to offer you could be helpful to you or useful, or maybe you just want some answers. Maybe you want to talk something out. That's fine. Book in, let's have a chat. Let's talk about it. I'd be excited to hear where you're going and what's going on for you. And if now's not the right time for you, subscribe and keep watching. Because I'm going to keep figuring it out. I'm going to keep putting it up here on YouTube. And If you're not in a position that you want to jump into that, I've also been talking to some of the people on my mailing list, some of the people I'm working with, and they're much more interested in the idea of like a creative collective where we work together and we support each other, you know. So we're creating a membership around that where everyone's in the same boat, you know, and you can share work, we'll parallel play, co-work, and we'll do group coaching. And that's just another way to get in there, and it's pretty low friction, but I think it'll be fun. And I'd love to hear where you're at, you know, so subscribe and follow along. And YouTube will put up another video of mine here. If you haven't seen the last one, go watch that. I think I was real and raw and honest with you, and hopefully you see the same in this too. But until next time, stay creative.